When I was in fifth grade, I learned the F word. My best friend taught it to me. After hearing those four letters, my life was never the same. I became a lot more familiar with the F word as I continued throughout public education. But now that I'm here at BYU, I can happily report that most days are F word free. And that's because of you guys. So thank you. But here on campus, we have a different F word: feminist. The second that word escapes someone's mouth, a chill creeps throughout the room like the boogeyman just walked in. I have felt this chill many times myself, and many of you have probably felt it as well. And this is not just a BYU thing. In a recent poll conducted by the Washington Post, they found that 43% of Americans would label feminists as angry. These Americans decided that feminists were a group of people to be a little uneasy about. We do not have to feel the chill of feminism any longer. Now, don't worry. I'm not here to try and persuade you that feminism is good or that feminism is bad, because quite frankly, that can change depending on what your definition of feminism is. And as we'll learn today, there are many. I'm here to try and persuade you that we can't automatically assume someone's beliefs just because they label themselves feminist. So today we are going to discuss the problems with how feminism is perceived, the different types of feminism, and the importance of clinging to tolerance. In our world today, feminism is perceived in many different ways. Growing up, this always left me a little confused. This is me at my high school graduation. I graduated ranked #1 in my class and got to give the commencement address at my school ceremony. Standing at that podium, I felt proud. I felt empowered. I felt like a feminist. These feelings were only supported when I heard quotes from beloved feminist leader herself, Emma Watson. She said, "Feminism is equality, politically, culturally, socially, economically. That's it. That simple." That sounded like something I could get behind. But then I would read stories in the news of feminists burning their bras, and I would hear quotes from other feminist leaders like Sheila Cronin. Sheila Cronin is the feminist leader of the organization Now. She stated, and I'm paraphrasing here, "Freedom for women cannot be won without the abolition of marriage." This was the side of feminism I wasn't sure if I agreed with quite as much. Every day it seemed like a new person had a different idea of what feminism was and what a feminist should stand for. This constant back and forth of am I a feminist or am I not left me feeling frustrated, foolish, and flawed. I am not the only person who has felt this way. Another BYU student said, "I fight for equality. Therefore, I feel like a feminist." But I don't label myself that way because I am afraid that students here on campus will immediately assume that my beliefs go against those of the church. Unfortunately, I too am afraid that many students here on campus believe that all feminism goes against church teachings. This is not necessarily the case. It is critical to remember that there are many different types of feminism. Our radicals are the feminists that we read about in media, burning their bras and doing other activities of the sort. Since these are the feminists that we hear about the most, many people assume that the radical views represent the views of feminism as a whole. This is not true. In the same poll done by the Washington Post, they found that only 17% of feminists label themselves as strong or radical. In my experience, most feminists fall under the first and second wave categories. These feminists believe in fighting for equality of opportunity. Even then, it is up to the individual to decide if he or she wants to take such an opportunity. Each group of feminism has a slightly different definition of what a feminist is. Therefore, how is it fair that we clump them all together and slap the radical label on it? It's not fair. Almost 30 years ago in General Conference, our beloved prophet President Nelson, who was also the president of the Board of Trustees here at BYU, begged us to cling to tolerance. He said, "We call upon all people everywhere to recommit themselves to the time-honored ideals of tolerance and mutual respect." How do we do this? We ask questions. When you come across a feminist, do not automatically assume what he or she believes. Ask them. In conclusion, we have learned today that there are many different types of feminism, and therefore, many different types of feminists. We can't assume any longer. We need to ask questions. In doing so, we do not have to feel the chill of the second F word any longer.